Alright, so today we're doing section 8.3. It's all about solving by factoring using the MA method. So that is our goal. We're going to solve equations by using MA and then the zero product rule. Any questions? You don't need this in your notes. This is actually how every slide of this chapter is going to start after we learn the zero product rule, because we're doing the same thing in every single section. We are looking at equations that are factorable on one side and equal to 0 on the other. So first we're going to factor. Today we're going to factor by MA. Last week we factored by GCF. And then we're going to use the zero product rule. So we're doing a lot of the same thing this chapter. Every day is just kind of a different take on the same basic concept. Any questions? Oh my gosh, sorry. Computer is going crazy. Here is our first example. So go ahead and write that down. We have x squared plus 8x plus 7 equals 0. So remember, in the MA method, your third number, your third term is your M. Your middle term is your A. So we are looking for two numbers that multiply to a 7 and add to an 8. If you use your factor sheet, you would find 7 on your factor sheet. 7 is actually not on the factor sheet because it's prime, which means the only factors are 1 and 7. Do 1 and 7 add to 8? Great, that's exactly what we want to happen. This is the factors that we're going to use. Both positive, so we're going to have x plus 1. We're going to have x plus 7. And we're going to set both of those equal to 0. That's the first step. That's factoring using the MA method. We haven't done that in a little bit. Any questions on that? Multiply to 7, add to 8. The winning combination is 1 and 7, then you write it in that binomial form. And then we're going to use the zero product rule. So we're going to set x plus 1 equal to 0 and x plus 7 equal to 0. How would I solve that first equation? Minus 1 minus 1. So x equals, what's 0 minus 1? Nope. Negative 1. Same thing in the back. Subtract 7. Subtract 7. What's 0 minus 7?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. Wonderful. That is example 1. What are your questions? Here's number 2. Go ahead and write this down. We have x squared plus 7x plus 10 equals 0. What's my M? 10. What's my A? 7. The ways to make it 10 are 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Again, these are straight from that factor sheet. Hopefully you haven't lost it by now. If you have, find another one on the internet. All right, which one of those adds to 7?
2 and 5.
2 and 5, both positive. So I am going to have the binomials x plus 2 and x plus 7. No, 5. Sorry. Messing myself up. Any questions so far? All right, let's set each one equal to 0. So I have x plus 2 equals 0. And x plus 5 equals 0. Now what? Minus 2 minus 2. That gives me x equals negative 2. Great. Other one? Minus 5 minus 5. So that gives me x equals negative 5. Wonderful. What are your questions? No, that's a good question. Is this a review? No, but all parts of this question are a review. Like, you know MA, you know zero product rule. We're just taking two things that you already know and putting them together. So it probably does feel like a review, but you have not done a problem like this on your own yet. Questions? All right, here is number 3. There are 8 questions today. All right, what's my M on number 3? 18. What's my A? Negative 11. Yes, you have to keep the signs with it. So we have positive 18, negative 11. Remember, when you are multiplying to a positive number, either both factors are positive or both factors are negative. What do you think they're both going to be in this problem? Both going to be negative. So when I'm listing the factors of 18, I'm going to think of them all as negatives. All right, so here are the 3 different ways to make an 18. I know that both numbers need to be negative, so go back and make them all negative. And then double check to see which winning combination also adds to negative 11. Boom. So now, since they're negatives, it'll be x minus 2 and x minus 9. Set them equal to 0. Then what?
X minus 2 equals 0.
Yep, x minus 2 equals 0. X minus 9 equals 0. Then what?
Plus 2 plus 1.
Good. Add 2. So x equals 2. Whoa, what was that? Back here we add 9, so x equals 9. Wonderful. What are your questions?
I accidentally washed my bags and pencils. They were in my pocket and I washed them.
Okay. What is my M?
What?
What is my A?
Negative 13.
Negative 13. If you are multiplying to a positive and adding to a negative, what do we know about the signs? They're both going to be negative. So I'll do like 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. I think that's it, right? And then make them all negative. Boom, 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 boom. All right, any of these add to negative 13?
Negative 5, negative 8.
Here we go. Negative 5, negative 8. So when I write with binomials, I'm going to do x minus 5. I'm going to do x minus 8. Both equal to 0. Okay. Now what?
Plus 5.
You got to write them out first. X minus 5 equals 0. X minus 8 equals 0. And then, yes, you were right. We're going to add 5. So we get positive 5 as a solution. We're going to add 8. So we also get positive 8 as a solution. Now, I haven't talked about this much, but if you want to check to see if these are right, does anyone know how to do that? You plug 5 in right here and right here. And you see if you get 0 when you do all the math. Then you plug 8 in. Square the 8. Multiply it by 13. Subtract that number from your 8 squared. And then add the 40 and see if you really do get 0. In this case you do. I promise. You can check me on the calculator if you like. But that's how you check your answers. So if you're in like the chapter 8 test and you really need to get 100% or something, plug all these back in, see if they work. That's how you know if you did it right. Plug them in. Check your work. What are your questions?
Do it matter how you put it?
Like if you put x equals 8, x equals 5?
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, well, on these order doesn't matter. As long as your signs are correct, as long as they were both negative, you'd be good. All right, here's number 5. It's getting a little trickier because of the negative signs are getting a little more difficult. So here my multiply number is negative and my add number is negative. If you're going to multiply to be a negative, how many numbers need to be positive? How many need to be negative?
One needs to be negative.
Yeah, you need one of each. And I want the bigger one to have the same sign as my add number. So when I'm listing the factors of 56, I'm going to make the bigger one negative each time. So the ways to make a 56 are 1 and 56. I'm going to make the bigger one negative because I know they're adding to a negative. 2 and what? 28? Is that right? Does 3 go into 50? Someone help me. I don't know the factors of 58. 4? 4 and 14? 5 doesn't. 6 doesn't. 7 does with 8, and then that's it, right? Sorry, a lot of these factors I know off the top of my head. 56 is not one of them. Although I could have figured that one out for sure. All right, anyway, back to work. Which one of these adds to negative 1? What?
7 and negative 8.
Yeah, the 7 and the negative 8. So now I'm going to have x plus 7 because the 7 is positive, x minus 8 because the 8 is negative. Any questions so far? It's the same process as we were doing in the earlier problems. It's just the more negatives you have, the trickier things get. Alright, so I'm going to do x plus 7 equals 0 and x minus 8 equals 0. In the first one, I subtract 7 from both sides. I get x equals negative 7. In the back, I add 8 to both sides. And I get that x equals positive 8. What are your questions? Number 6. What's my m? Negative 20. What's my a?
1.
1. Very good. If you're multiplying to a negative, you need one number to be positive, one number to be negative. The larger factor always takes the add number sign. So I'm going to make the smaller factor negative, the larger factor positive. Any questions on that idea? So I have 1 and 20. Make the 1 negative in that pair. 2 and 10. I'll make the 2 negative in that pair. And 4 and 5. I'll make the 4 negative in that pair. Alright, which one of those is the winning combination?
What about negative 4?
There's a 5. There it is. Just a lag.
5.
Yeah, this is the one we're looking for. So my factors are going to be x minus 4 and x plus 5. Set them equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0 and x plus 5 equals 0. To solve, I need to add 4, so one of my solutions is, what do you get here? 4, good. Back here we subtract 5, so one of my solutions is negative 5. Great. Raise your hands if you have any questions. All right, here's number 7. What's my M? What's my A? 5. Good. Ways to make a 14 are 1 and 14, 2 and 5. If I'm multiplying to a negative, but I'm adding to a positive, what does that mean? One's going to be negative, one's going to be positive. Do I want the bigger one to be negative or the bigger one to be positive? We want the bigger one to be positive since it's going to add to a positive number. So I'm going to sneak some negative signs in. All right, anyone have the winning combination? Negative 2 and 7. So I'm going to do x minus 2. I'm going to do x plus 7 equals 0. Set those each equal to 0. X minus 2 equals 0. X plus 7 equals 0. And then solve. So what are my two solutions? X equals 2. And x equals negative 7. Raise your hands if you're having issues. All right, here's number 8. Give you a second to write it down. What's my M? Negative 24. What's my A? Negative 5. The ways to multiply to a negative and add to a negative is you need one of each, and you want your larger one to be negative. You want more negatives than positives in your factors. All right, 24 has a bunch of factors. We have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. I just said I want the larger one to be the negative on each of these. All right, anyone know the winning combination? 3, negative 8. 4, negative 6 would give us a negative 2 in the middle, but we want a negative 5 in the middle, so double check that. Alright, so now I have x plus 3. I have x minus 8. So you're saying to solve these we need to subtract 3 and add 8? Yeah. So my solution ends up being 1 negative and 1 positive. All right, raise your hands if you have any questions. If not, that is section 8.3.